I know you want it. I know you want it. I know you want it. And I like it like this, just like this. And I like it like this, just like this. I like it like this, just like this. I like it like this, just like this. I like it 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 like this. It feels so good to know you love it too. I feel I will keep you. Nobody ever made me feel like this. No, maybe what I am. I swear. You wind up on me. You push up on me. You twist up on me. I can tell that you want me. You bend your back and push back and bubble up and wind up. I know you want it. I know you want it. I know you want it.
Hi everyone, my name is Michael Olton, and I represent a band called Soca Massive Fancy Sailors UK. Now today I'm going to give you an insight into original Carnival bands, and in particular the Sailor Mass. Now the Sailor Mass was actually introduced in the 1880s by the English, American and French sailors when they came ashore to Trinidad. English, American and French sailor bands, right? Different variations. We have the King Sailor, we have the Free French Sailor, we have the Fireman, and in particular, and one of the most popular characters in the sailor band is the Fancy Sailor. And the King Sailor, he's probably the leader of the band. He normally comes out with a big headpiece. Originally, he used to have a big, long, curvy nose with spots and things on it. The second one, roughly the Fireman. The Fireman was normally dressed in a kind of black outfit with goggles because his job was more staying in the engine room of the ship. You'd also have a big poker with him, that's to poke the coal, right? And of course the Fancy Sailor. The Fancy Sailor is dressed more in a white costume, but very, 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 very decorative with swans, dongs, beads, things that are very bright, right? Braids, just anything that matches the headpiece as well. Right? Now, what we've done as a band, Soca Massive Fancy Sailors UK, we have taken these elements from the original costumes and we've updated them. We've taken inspiration from the traditional aspects of the mask, depicting the original Carnival characters, and we've added a modern day twist and themes to the actual costume. We're still trying to keep tradition alive. With the help of our designer, Mr. Sean Carrington, we've tried to up-tempo the original Fancy Sailor mask. In 2015, we brought out the band called Sailors Ashore. Now, we had three different characters. The arrival, as the sailors coming off the ship. As soon as the sailors come off the ship, they will head straight to the bar. So we had another section called the Drunken Sailor. And after they had lots and lots of drink or enjoyed themselves, the next thing, they've gone to the casino. So that's the third section. We call it a Gambling Sailor.
Patrice again,
Guess combine what you want tell me?
I know you're watching all walking up a ways. My body good, you wanna bet me for a pace. Yeah. You wanna hold me down and lock me up for days. Oh yeah,
Patrice,
yeah.
I want it.
I want you, and I could tell you want me to. I feel you, I could feel your love and push you through. Yeah. Just say you want me to. You need to.
You wind up on me. You push up on me. You twist up on me. I can tell that you want me. You bend your back and push back and bubble up and wind up. I know you want it, I know you want it, I know you want it. And I like it like this, just like this. And I like it like this, just like this. I like it like this, just like this. I like it like this, just like this. I like it 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 like this. It feels so good, so good to ride.
The first section is the arrival section. Here, the sailors are dressed in black and white attire, featuring the ship rope and anchor, right, to symbolize that these ships have just docked. Now, these sailors don't have long before they are due to report back to their commanding officers. So in order to set sail once again, in desperate need to unwind and let off steam, right, from the smoke-filled ship as well, that's lots of steam, right, they head to the local bar. Now, the second section is the drunken sailor. This is the sailors who just come ashore just to enjoy a nice cold beer, a nice whiskey, but they just come out to enjoy themselves with a Carib or two, especially if they landed in Trinidad. These sections are just to inspire the colors, right, of the Carib beer, right? Hence the sailors drinking the Carib, so you have the colors. The third section is the gambling section, right? After they finish drinking, they head down to the casino. These gamblers have now found themselves enjoying themselves in entertainment, right? And of course, influenced by a deck. You can see the costumes, which is influenced by a deck of cards all around the sides. Now, that describes what we've been trying to do with the fancy sailor, upgrading it to sort of meet modern terms. And we believe that traditional costumes and traditional masks should always play a major part in Carnival. Because I keep saying time and time again, if you don't know where you come from, you won't know where you're going, right? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I will be open for you to take questions about what I've discussed so far. Please, I hope you enjoyed it. Check it out. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye. Yeah, hi. Well, I hope that's given you an insight. I hope that's given you an insight into a little history about the fancy sailor and its characters. And I believe in still keeping traditional costumes alive is very, very, very important. Especially, it comes from the roots. And people are saying, well, boy, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? I keep going back to, if you don't know where you come from, you don't know where you're going. The traditional masks and the traditional costumes, they tell a story. There's a history behind it, whether it's from a film, whether it's historical. It all tells a story. The different phases they go through, you can see the many different characters that are portrayed. So keeping tradition alive is very, very important. Now I'm available if anybody wants to ask me any questions. Please feel free, so let me know. Okay? Yeah. I've seen one here. What are traditional carnival bands? What is the history and heritage of carnival bands? Traditional carnival bands, like I said before, tell a story. Like I said again, it's to do with the individual characters, like Antony and Cleopatra. They tell a story. They dress up in their Roman attires. They portray the kings, the queens, the foot soldiers, the sergeants, the lieutenants, so everything tells a story. There's another one. What do carnival bands represent? What does the fancy sailor represent? Like I said, the fancy sailor represents a particular character within the sailor band. Again, with its highly decorative costumes, with swan's dongs, shiny materials, medals. It actually shows different characters, right? What else have we got here? If anyone wants to ask anything, please just feel free. Okay, I'm open to discussion. Also, Soca Massive as a band has been on the road, has been participating in Notting Hill Carnival for about 12 to 13 years. Again, we have decided, when we first came out, we had decided to stick with tradition, because obviously tradition comes first. We started, again, like I said, with the sailors, but various different types of sailors and the different characters. And it's something that I feel very passionate about. And people have said, oh, well, it's too much clothes. It's too much clothes. It's too heavy. We don't want to put on this. It's too hot. We're going to be sweating and things. But again, I've taken all these things into account. And like I said, we've up-tempoed the sailors, still keeping the traditional fancy sailor look, but again, bringing it more up-tempo and into modern times. All right, so it's been a struggle, but it's something that I love, and it's a passion. Again, if there's anyone wants to ask any questions, just feel free. I mean, I can go into, like I said, the not even the part of the fancy sailor is the sailors that are all dressed in white. That's still like the captains, where with how that's portrayed. It's with epaulets, it's with stripes, and it's with loads and loads and loads of medals. Just like a captain, but again, being Carnival, it's very decorative, and he stands out a lot more. As you can see, he's at the front of the band, and he's always very sharp, and he's even got a walking stick. Right, so this is the different types of sailors that we actually portray. Again, if anyone wants to ask some questions, it's fine by me. I'm available, so please feel free. Okay, and we played a character called Fireman 1 year. We portrayed him. Fireman, again, he's normally dressed. The fireman actually belongs in the coal room of the ship, with the steam, the steam engines at the bottom of the ship. He normally has goggles. He's normally dressed in black. His skin is normally dark because of the smoke and the steam that's coming out of the kitchen, out of the steamships in the engine room, and obviously, and then he carries a poker. Now the poker is a very important part, because that's what he uses to poke the coal in the actual steamships. And with the fireman, there is even a dance, a special fireman dance. Again, it goes back to tradition and history. It has to be seen, right, to actually appreciate it. Also, with the sailors itself, there is a special sailor dance. It's called like the heel and toe, where a sailor, if you see a sailor, he's never really standing still. He's always going like this. He's always like, he's not really drunk, right? He's not drunk as such. But when he's on the ship's always going like this, So there's a special dance. There's a sailor dance where he's going like this, and he's moving his feet with a heel on toe, and it's chipping down the road. And it's a character that should not be dying out. It should always be kept alive. It goes on. What competitions? We've won Best Band on the Road in Notting Hill roughly 3 or 4 times already with the historic mass. We've won Best Band on the Road in Hackney, again with the historical mass and the theme. And every year we're actually coming first, second, third in the competitions. Yeah. So that's a little bit of the history of what Soca Massive Fancy Sailors actually have been doing, and our intention is to continue with the Sailor Mass. Every year we will be bringing out a separate section just for fancy sailors, but every year again we're bringing out an up-tempoed version. Again, I will have to say thanks to my designer, Mr. Sean Carrington, who's been with me for a long while now and has also encouraged me and given me the ideas of how we can do these things. A lot of people are saying, well, Mercy, why don't you put on some bikini and beads and do it that way? I'm saying, no, we don't want it that way. That isn't a traditional mask, right? I have no qualms with the beads and feathers. They look good on people. But again, tradition is very important to me. All right? Yeah. So the question is, how many fancy sailor bands? To be truthful, I think I am the only sort of fancy sailor band that is actually in London at this moment in time. Every year you have bands that will come out and they will always bring a section of sailors. But I think I am the only one that really comes out with traditional sailors every year without fail. Yeah. A lot of the steel bands tend to bring out sailors as well, because the sailors, the captains, a lot of the steel bands, they tend to have a lot of sailor following. There's a section they brought out a year called Free French Sailor, where they had like French sailors. They've got a beret on their head. Their t-shirts are tightly fitted with stripes on it. They've got long trousers, especially bell-bottom trousers. That's another distinguishing mark of the sailors. They've always got bell bottoms. Yeah. But I've seen a lot of the steel bands, they tend to bring out a sailor section, because sailors traditionally follow this. The sailor bands that traditionally follow a steel band. Any more questions? What do you enjoy most about performing in a traditional band? Again, what do we most enjoy? We're portraying history. We're showing people a part of the history and where we've come from. Because of the bright colors and the clothing, we do the traditional bands and the traditional characters do stand out. If we didn't enjoy it, we wouldn't be doing it. We have a kind of cult following. Every year, we have the same sort of people that will follow the sailor band because they believe in the sailor band. They believe in these sort of characters, and that's what actually keeps the band alive and keeps it going. We've done numerous tours throughout England. We've performed in most of the carnivals. We've performed on stage shows just because of these traditional characters. We've gone on numerous exhibitions showing the sailor dance, showing the fireman dance. We've had displays in town halls. So it's something that keeps going all the time. It keeps us going all the time. Have you taken your band to other European or Caribbean countries? We have traveled to Europe twice already. We was trying to link up with a band in Trinidad to bring our section of sailors. There are sailor band in Trinidad, and we was trying to link up with them to bring our section to join the band in Trinidad. And we were in very, very serious talks about this year, for next year. But well, who knows? We don't know what's going to happen. If there's going to be a carnival in Trinidad, we don't know. Well, we know what's happened here. Our carnival is cancelled. But we have been in talks about bringing the band to Trinidad as a section in a sailor band. Yeah. Let me see. When did you enter this industry? Soca Massive has been participating in Carnival since 1985. Yeah, 1985. I first came on the road in 1985 as a DJ, a mobile sound system. Okay, and every year we kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Then we started playing for other costume bands. We played for Genesis, we've played for Rough Diamond, we've played for Coquier, we played for 12th Century Carnival, we played for we played for Dragons. Just those are the bands around at that time. So we really did the circuit as a DJ, playing on the road with various different bands. But in 2006, 2007, that's when we decided that we're going to bring our own band, our own costume band on the road. And since then, we've just been going from strength to strength to strength, and where we've been winning competitions, prizes, etc. And we've been doing performances up and down throughout England. But we are very, very strong. I could say strong foundation in the carnival. We are one of the oldest fancy sailor bands at this moment in time in Notting Hill. I remember one year it rained. It rained and it rained. And having these sailor outfits on and the rain soaking through soaking through these costumes. And the people and the masqueraders, it didn't affect them. They just kept on going in the rain. We were drenched down to our socks. But because of the love of Carnival, they performed through the day. And I mean, the next day, everybody was just ringing out the costumes. Everyone had colds and things. But again, that's a part of Carnival. You know, it's the love and the enjoyment of it. We also did a few exhibitions, of course, with UKON up in Barking and Dagenham. We normally have a stand there where we display our costumes. They can see all of that, and we have children performing as well within the Barking and Dagenham Festival with the costumes as well. So we do get around a lot with the Fancy Sailor Mass. And I do believe that it's very important that we do keep this tradition alive and keep it going. Any more questions? Oh, look at this. Nobody wants to ask me nothing. I must be answering everybody's questions. That's nice. Let me see. What is it? This question has come up before. Have you taken the band across to Europe? Like I said, we've made 2 journeys across to Europe before, but our intention was to actually go down or participate in next year's carnival, joining up with another sailor band in Trinidad and bringing out our own section. You know,
What do carnival bands represent, and how does fancy say, and what does a fancy sailor represent? Yep, I've answered yes. I've been through that question already. What else? Let me see here. How do you keep the traditional aspects going if the crowd wants the current road march music? We keep the traditional aspects. I'll explain to you. We don't play old time music or soca from 19, say 2000, 2005, 2008, right? We play all the modern day music, the latest soca that's available, what's been playing in all the carnivals, Barbados, St. Vincent, Trinidad, Grenada. We play all the up-to-date music because that's what the people want, right? The traditional costumes are still out there. We perform with the traditional costumes, but all the music that we're playing is current and up-to-date. Of course, we can't keep a certain pace on that road, going fast. We do slow the music down a little bit, but again, we have all the current music that we perform to every year. So in that way, we keep up to date all the time. And let me see. How did we end up at number 10 Downing Street? We were asked to perform if we could send 3 individual characters to perform. The Carnival, the Notting Hill Carnival Committee actually approached us and said, look, we love the band, we love what you're doing, we love what we see. We've got a performance at number 10 Downing Street, and we would like your band to perform. So I thought, yeah, but Downing Street, we've never performed in Downing Street before, and I thought it was a great honor. We sent 3 individuals, I think, 3 children, and they look beautiful. They actually performed very, very well. There were other groups as well there from various different bands, but they performed very well, and the actual performance and the whole show was a success. I don't know if we'll be doing it. No, I don't think we'll be doing it this year. But obviously, we do get the opportunities to perform in, like I said, various different venues up and down the country, which we are we're very honored. We're very honored to do. What's it like performing at Notting Hill with your traditional band? It's, how can I say, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming because the band is what it is. Traditional, we do attract a lot of press coverage, and we do attract a lot of attention, right? Because what the public is seeing as we're performing, they don't see things like that all the time. A lot of the bands now, they resemble each other. A small bikini, a bra, some beads, some feathers. Your body's been revealed, certain parts of your bodies and things like that. But certain people like that element. But they do, once you've seen a band like that, you see another band, it's the same. You see another band coming down, they're just the same. You see another band, it's the same. But these bands are not telling stories. They're not showing the individual characters. Now with the Sailor Band, like I said, how it's so highly decorative, right? And we are different. We've got clothes on, excuse me. We've actually got clothes on. And
some of the older people, they will tend to come into this a band like that, because obviously they don't want to be showing off their wares outside. But it's a great pleasure to be performing in Notting Hill and having the media just on you all the time, and the crowd appreciate it, the media appreciate it, and it's a wonderful feeling. It is a wonderful feeling. Who is your favorite character? Again, I would say I like all the characters to do with the Sailor Mars. But I think my favorite will have to be the Fancy Sailor itself. How he's dressed, the dance he performs, how he's coming down the road swaying like this, and of course the heel and toe dance, the white outfits with the swan's dongs, the red swan's dong, the black swan's dong, green swan's dong, the headpiece on his head. It's seeing that coming to you, and just looking at it. Sometimes I'm saying, but I'm talking, and my paws are actually raising. That's how passionate I am about this particular character. And like I said, it's something that should not go unnoticed, because if it does, it will die, and we can't afford to let our traditional carnival die and move into what is called now the more Brazilian element, which the modern, the younger people tend to go for, because they don't want to be dressing up in too much clothes. But like I said, we have added a modern day twist to the Sailor Band, just to up tempo it. Can I say something? What are the prices of the costumes? No, we have kept the prices of the costumes at a reasonable rate, affordable rates. The sailor costumes aren't very expensive to make. We don't have to import a lot of beads. We don't have to import a lot of feathers. Hence the overheads, the overhead costs are not. It's not as much as say you're going to buy a headpiece with loads of feathers and beads and this and that and that. No. So we have kept the prices of the costume very reasonable. Say between 250 to 350, depending on the size of the costume, and again depending on how much work is involved in producing the costume. So I'm keeping it in line, of course, and you've got to look at people's pockets and their affordability as well. And I must give credit to my designer, Mr. Sean Carrington, who's producing the modern day twist of the sailor, the fancy sailor, and the sailor mask, but still, again, keeping all the traditions alive. You can always tell it's a sailor band by the bell-bottom trousers or something that has always been reflecting within the costumes. Any more questions? I saw something pop up. Yeah. Hi, Glenn. How you doing? Yep. Right. What are the main types of costumes that you are asked for in terms of traditional carnival? What are the main types of costumes that you are asked for in terms of traditional carnival? Like I said, in traditional carnival costumes, you have the Mokojumbis, you have the Dame Lorraines, you have the Jab Jab, you have the Blue Devil, you have the Pierrots, you have the Midnight Robbers, you have the Bookman. These are all traditional carnival characters, and they are still being performed a lot more in Trinidad. I haven't seen a lot of these characters in Notting Hill Carnival recently. I know they used to, But as time goes by and as we're going forward, some of these characters are being left out of Notting Hill Carnival. And again, I believe that these characters, they should be more interjected within the carnival, because what's happening? We are losing the tradition, and of course, we still have to try and keep this alive. But again, we are one of the oldest sailor bands in Notting Hill Carnival, and we do intend to keep going. Have you got a catalogue of past costumes online so people can have an idea of what you're talking about? Yes, you can go to www.socamassive.co.uk, and there are costumes there that we've been playing for the past, say, roughly about the past 8 years of putting these things. Our performances at Notting Hill, our performances in Hackney. You can also go on Facebook, socamassive.co.uk. You can also go Instagram, my Instagram page, Michael Olton. There's various costumes there that's also on display, so people can always refer back and see a catalogue of what we've done in the past. Yeah. Next question. That's good. Nobody wants to ask me nothing. I'm covering everything. Let's see. I remember again, one of the very first fancy sailor bands that I actually had the experience of working with was 12th Century Carnival, the late Ashton Charles. He's passed away now, but he brought out the original fancy sailor costumes, and sadly he's passed, like I said, and it's not like, well, his history and legacy. Fortunately, I have inherited all the traditional fancy sailor costumes, all the headpieces, and all the main characters. Now, I've been saying these things have to be put in museums, and these things have to be kept or even put on display to show where the carnival has come from, to show its history. I've been saying this time and time again, and hopefully someone will listen and we can actually have a museum of traditional costumes to say, well, hey, this is what they did in the past. This is what they're doing now. This is how the carnival actually started. These were the costumes they were wearing. And hopefully my intention is to somehow put on some of these costumes on display. And they are still in excellent condition, because Ashton Charles, being a tailor, he sewed everything by hand. In those days, that's how they made the costumes, by hand. There was no machines or anything else. So hopefully eventually we will try to put these things in a museum of some sort to keep the tradition alive. Any more questions, please? Are you doing an online performance so UKON Barking Carnival? Oh yes, most definitely. Most definitely, we will be doing a performance. Again, the dates will have to be, you'll have to look out, we will advise on the dates. UKON Careers, UKON Barking Carnival, they will actually send out bits and pieces. And we will also be putting up our own things on Facebook, Instagram, look out on the WhatsApps, etc. All right. Anyway, time is running short for me, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show, and like I said, let's try and keep the tradition alive. Okay, well, thank you very much again on behalf of myself, Michael Olton, and Soca Massive Fancy Sailors UK. All right, thank you.